Bucket lists. Everybody has a bucket list. We have a bucket list before we graduate college. We have a bucket list before we get married. We have a bucket list before we die. And we put all of our dreams and hopes on these bucket lists. But when we think about it realistically, how many of them actually are we going to achieve? It's more so a sort of futuristic thing to keep us going, to keep us, keep moving forward in the present. Now, Disney has a very realistic way of looking at this bucket list, and every day their employees need to have one magical moment. And what that means is they need to go out of their way to do one nice thing for someone. Now, it doesn't have to be a huge thing. It can be something from getting someone into the princess breakfast to someone opening a door for someone. That is a magical moment. You're going out of your way to do a nice little thing for someone. Now, one thing that happened to me last year was I was dealing with a student who she didn't like peer advisors, and she didn't really like anyone who agreed with her, just a very closed off person. So you always had to be very diplomatic when dealing with her. Now, it came to my attention that a lot of freshmen, and this is something that we all need to be aware of, come in with baggage from high school, some more than others. But they're still kind of in that high school mentality. They're still getting used to, breaking away from cliques or their comfort zones in high school. And it was hard for some people to see it with this girl. But one day she made a Facebook status, a very sad Facebook status, and I realized that. And I had overheard her one day in a conversation mentioning that two of her favorite things were hot chocolate and vanilla wafers. So I bought hot chocolate and vanilla wafers, knocked on her door, and left them outside for her to find. And when she was asking around trying to find out who had done it for her, and eventually found out that I had done it, she felt horrible that she had judged people so quickly. So I ended up becoming friends with that freshman. Now, not everyone's going to want to be your friend. Not everyone initially is going to get along with you. But as peer advisors, what we need to do is we have these huge bucket lists that we want to do everything with our freshmen. We want to have dinners, we want to have study groups, and this is great. But remember that sometimes it's the small things that are the most important. It's the small things that have the biggest impact.
You all know me as coordinator Ben, but in the other half of my life, I'm also science Ben. I like to think that one of my biggest role models is Bill Nye, the science guy. I've learned a lot of life lessons from him. So I'm going to try to be like Bill Nye and give you a life lesson and talk about bacteria. Bacteria are usually looked badly upon. A lot of people think bacteria are bad. They cause sickness, illness, they make you feel groggy, they make you sneeze a lot, but little do people know that bacteria have a lot of positive things about them. There's actually bacteria living in your stomach right now. Also, E. coli, there's bacteria in yogurt. What's the message from that? There's stereotypes. Bacteria are stereotyped against. Speaking of bacteria, back when I was a freshman living in Boland Hall, there was a cold going around. And little Ben got a little bit nervous, and he went to his mentor, his freshman mentor. And I told my mentor, hey, there's a cold going around, I think I'm getting sick. The first thing she did, swung her big drawer open and pulled a brand new bottle of Lysol and said, Ben, go spray everything in your room. And even to this day, I'm still extremely close with that mentor. I confide in her, I tell her everything. If I ever have a problem with anything, I go right to her. So the idea I'm trying to share today is that you should put the me in mentor. Never be afraid to open up to your mentor. Never be scared. Yes, just like bacteria, there is a stereotype because they are an authority figure and they are professionals. But don't be afraid to make a meaningful relationship with your mentor.
Remember the first time you went to New York City on your own? For non-natives, Manhattan can kind of seem a little confusing and fast-paced and sometimes overwhelming. You ask yourself a lot of questions like, where the heck am I? And what's the difference between an avenue and street again? And how exactly do I hail a cab? Because I'm not about to figure out that subway situation. And you also say, I really want to ask for directions right now, but I heard New Yorkers hate tourists. And that one seems like he needs to hurry, so I'm not going to bother him. Well, being a first-time peer advisor in Mooney Hall 11 and 12 can often seem like going to New York for the first time. My first week in Mooney, I didn't know where to sit or what I should be doing. I remember the first week I was so afraid to ask her how to transfer a call that instead of actually transferring a call, I just pretended to and actually just hung up the phone right away because I didn't want to bother her. Now, that didn't really help anybody. The freshman was left cold out in the dark because, well, I just hung up on him. And freshman studies wasn't able to help the students that they need to. I say put down asking lots of questions on your bucket list. Ask anybody who's free in the office: Maggie, Hazel, Lisa, Brandon. Maybe not Dean Cunningham because she's the busiest of us all, but get down to it. Ask them a question, annoy them. They'll thank you for it later. Sometimes it seems like the mentors are like New Yorkers. They're in a hurry. They don't really want to help anybody. They might be in a bad mood. But that's not the case at all. They're actually super, super nice, and they're there to help you. So get to it. Ask them a question. Sooner or later, you won't need them.
I'm nervous.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Ready?
Okay. Wait, I'm not ready.
You can't do it off camera.
You want me to go ra-ta-ta? Go ra-ta-ta.